Alright, beat Final Fantasy again. What a game. Garland kidnaps the princess, and you command your 4 heroes to save her, bring her home, and then you cross that bridge off to your next adventure. Makes you wonder, though, doesn't it? Like, what happens after that? What are those other adventures awaiting the party? Seems like perfect sequel bait to me, but Final Fantasy II went a whole other direction with a new party, new story, whole new world. So I guess we'll never know what happens to our 4 heroes from the first game. Well, anyway. You're not here to listen to me prattle on about the original Final Fantasy. You're here to listen to me prattle on about Final Fantasy VIII. So let's do that. Hi, by the way. If you're here, I played Squall, so you might have heard me as that in the Final Fantasy VIII Fandub. My name's Zach, and you can also find me on Twitch and YouTube under the name Goopsy91. It's GOOPSY 91. If you're interested, if you want to drop a follow or a sub, whatever, it'd be cool. I'd like that. Anyway, back in the day of the start of the Fandub, it was suggested that we do these videos here where we talk about ourselves, introduce ourselves, and there were some questions given to the cast about stuff we can say about ourselves, and I'm just going to go through the questions here and, answer them. I'm just going to go down the list here and answer all the questions. So, question number 1 is, why did you want to voice this character? I didn't, particularly. I just wanted to be a part of the project, and this was my first voice acting role, and I really didn't have any expectations. I just wanted to be in it, and by some kind of happenstance, I just ended up as Squall, so that was pretty fun. It made me feel pretty cool. What do you like about your character, and what do you dislike about him or her? Ever since I was a little kid, I always thought Squall was real cool. Just the design's really good with the leather jacket and the scar and everything. It's got that 90s edge. I like that. I don't really know what I dislike about him. I guess he's got that anime protagonist syndrome where the love interest is pretty obviously coming on to him, and he's just oblivious to it for a majority of the time. So that can be kind of frustrating, I guess. What do you like about Final Fantasy VIII? A lot of things. Okay, so when I was a kid, my brother Mike, I really when I was really little, I looked up to him, and wanted to do all the things that he did, wanted to be like him, and he was he introduced me to video games for the most part, and not for the most part, for all of the part, but there was a point in time where he was playing Final Fantasy VIII, and I had never heard of the Final Fantasy series, and when he introduced it to me, I just totally was all in on it. I've never that was the first time I'd ever played an RPG. I never played anything like that before, And just what really, what I really like about Final Fantasy VIII and just RPGs in general is being able to control like a whole group of people in a battle. Like that's what really draws me to it. And and like the characters and the story and everything. But I'm a strictly gameplay first kind of thing. So the gameplay was something new to me, and I just fell in love right away. Oh, and gunblades. Gunblades are so cool, and Triple Triad, the card game. Um, I don't know how you could not like those things, and the junction system that I understood more as I got older. I like it a lot, and of course the GFs, especially Eden, just casually coming out and dropping like 11,000 damage or some shit. It's crazy. I love it. What inspired you to voice act? That I'm gonna come back to that one. That's kind of a long story. When did you start to voice act? That was August of 2016 with the Final Fantasy VIII Fandub. What is your dream role? Well, never really thought about that. Well, I just want to do it professionally. So, whatever ends up being my first professional gig, there you go. That's my dream role. If you want to keep it in the realm of Final Fantasy fandubs, I would really love to play Shadow from Final Fantasy VI. What are some of your favorite Final Fantasy games? I love 1 through 10, but 6 is my favorite, followed by 8. And then behind that are a smattering of 7 and 9 and 4, and just I have a real fondness for the first game too. Just I like them all. They're great. What are some of your favorite moments from Final Fantasy? Definitely suplexing trains in 6. The whole villain wins storyline in 6, where the world gets pretty much destroyed. Let's see. Was it the Sapphire weapon? I think it was in 7 that got its head blown off by that cannon. That was pretty sweet. And Cypher cutting Odin in half. Yeah, a lot of cool moments. 9 and 10 both had great endings. And the ride's a shoe puff guy. He's always fun. What are your thoughts on the franchise in general? It was the best RPG series around. Until it wasn't. I'll leave it at that. Do you have any funny or embarrassing Final Fantasy stories? Yeah. Yeah, I do. It would have been when I was about 12, I think. For Halloween that year, I really wanted to be Auron from 10. And, I mean, you're not gonna walk into fucking Spirit Halloween and find an Auron costume. That wasn't gonna happen. I had to make my own. And, it was... The work went into it that you would expect of a 12-year-old. I had this red robe that just kind of like slung my arm into, and I was wearing like these little glasses. Yeah, it was bad cosplay pretty much before I knew what cosplay was. I don't think there's any pictures of that time. I wouldn't be surprised if my mom was like, "Yeah, you know what? We don't need to take pictures this year. It's fine. Just go get your candy." Nobody knew who I was either. Like, how would they? They wouldn't know. So for that question I skipped over, what inspired you to voice act? Well, Initially, I did not want to be a voice actor. For most of my life, I wanted to be an actor in films, and when I got to high school, I became a lot more interested in writing, and I just wanted to do it all. At that point, I wanted to write, I wanted to direct my own movies, I wanted to act in them, I wanted to do everything. Um, that was until I went to college for acting. That kind of took the wind out of my sails for several reasons. Mostly the people there. Uh, I did not get along with my acting teacher at all. He was a dick. He was just straight up a dick. Um, so I was the only I was the only student in that class that didn't live on campus, and I would uh, I would get and he had this rather draconian rule about being late to his class. He said, "If you are late, you are not allowed to attend class." Was was the thing about that, and like most, I say most, but really every other college class I'd ever taken was that like if you were more than 10 minutes late or whatever, you can attend the class, but you don't get credit for it or whatever, which I think is fair. But this guy, look, the class starts at 9. There were some mornings where I got there 9:01, and he'd say, "Get out." He'd tell me, "Get out. You're not allowed to attend class today. You're late." And I'm just like, "Bullshit, dude. Like, what have you done? It's 9:01. Have you taken roll yet? I doubt it." There was one day where I got there at 9 o'clock on the dot, and he yells at me and tells me to leave, and I'm just like, "What the?" It takes me like 45 minutes to get to class, and I've got another class like in an hour or whatever. So he's making me leave class, and I've got nowhere to go. I don't know anyone on campus. Um, like, am I just gonna go home and then just immediately drive back for my next class? Like, no. So I'm just sitting around on campus with nothing to do, and not like his class was worth taking anyway. The classes he allowed me to go to, uh, these are his acting exercises. He would say, um, "Walk around the room and don't bump into anyone." He would have us all walk around the room, and he said an actor is supposed to be spatially aware on stage, and I'm just like, yeah. I don't think anyone here is a dumbass that just bumps into people on the street. Like, how is this an acting exercise? Another thing he had us do, that he would have us do a lot, was he would say, "Stare at the wall." We would stare at the wall, and he'd say, "Now imagine you're leaving your body. You're from your head, and your arms are leaving your body, and your legs are leaving your body, and they're being replaced with your character. First of all, what character? We haven't done a single acting exercise. I don't have a character to play. You just have me staring at a fucking wall." That's what this guy thinks an acting class is. And the other people there were just like the other students. They were just suck ups, and they were fake as hell. And like, dude, if my dad knew that he was paying for my classes for me to go there and just walk around a room and stare at a wall, I don't think he would have been too pleased. Just saying. And, I don't know, like, everyone there just rubbed me the wrong way, and I decided, you know what, I really, really don't want to spend the rest of my life working with people like this. Anyway, Um, if I go into all the details of everything I hated about theater college, we'd be here all day. I'm not gonna get into all of it. So anyway, I was at a loss of what to do with myself because I had convinced myself my entire life that I was going to be an actor. That's what I was going to do. I didn't know how to do anything else. I just committed to that for so long. So I was like, what am I supposed to do now? Like, acting is the only thing I know. And took some soul searching, I guess. Uh, I I remember like looking at an article at one point that was like well, it was like the careers that pay the most and have the happiest employees or something. It was something like that, but titled a little more cleverly than I remember. Um, but at the top of that list was voice actor, and I was looking at that, and I was thinking back to a lot of instances in my life where people told me that I have a great voice and I should be in radio or whatever. Um, Hell, even the teacher at that college, the acting teacher even said that, and I was just like, at that point, I had kind of already done my soul searching and settled on that, and I was just like, God damn, that's the only worthwhile thing you've ever said to me. But my my theater director at my high school said similar things, and it was just a thing like, yeah, I've been told this my entire life, and now I'm finally like listening to it and considering it, but I don't know how to get started. And I didn't for at least a year. At one point, I bought a little microphone, and I was not really having any idea what I'd do with it, but I was just like, I'm sure I'll use this at some point. And there was a Facebook group that I was a part of at the time, and still am. It's a Final Fantasy VIII fan group, and on that, like one day I was just browsing Facebook, and I saw a post there from a guy saying that he was casting for a fandub of Final Fantasy VIII. And I was just like, that sounds pretty cool. Actually, that sounds like exactly what I need if I want to get started as a voice actor, and this is something I already love, so it'll be easy for me to jump into. So he had like a website up that that said like taking all auditions or whatever until there was a date that I just interpreted to be at the end of the month or whatever. I don't remember what date it was. But I, in my usual fashion, kind of put it off longer than I should have. And I was. I looked at the like at the end of the month. I looked at the thing to see what the requirements were, and I saw what date it was and that it had already passed. And I was pretty upset with myself. Like, I remember lying in bed that night and just tossing and turning and just like, I couldn't get to sleep. I was like, I'm not happy with myself right now, and I'm not going to be until I at least try something. So I got up in the middle of the night and I turned on Final Fantasy VIII and just recorded with my microphone a bunch of uh, just lines from like the first 15-20 minutes of the game from any male character that walked up. And then I went to the website again And I emailed the director and said, "Hey, I know I missed the date, and that's fine and everything. I'm cool with that. But like, I got these recordings here, and if you haven't cast yet, just if you take a look at these, cool. If not, I understand. You have a great day or whatever I said. Um, but that was enough to like satisfy myself. Like I was like, okay, at least I tried. Um, if anything, like I totally understand if I'm not gonna get in, but at least I tried. So I went to bed. So when I got up the next day, I checked my email and I got a response. He told me that actually that they moved the whole audition operation to another website and extended the deadline. So I actually still had a lot more time to do it, and I was excited again. I was like, "Wow, I've got a second chance at this, and I better not screw it up." And I wasn't gonna, so I went right away. Like as soon as I got up that day after checking the email, went right back to recording. Uh, Pulled up the Final Fantasy VIII on the PlayStation and just did the same thing I did, but played a little farther, found more characters, recorded more lines, and then I went to that website that he had redirected me to, and found that they had listings for all the characters and sample lines for each one that we were intended to use, and I was like, oh, I guess I'll just trash all these recordings that I did and record those instead. And that's what I did. So I just went through the entire page, recorded auditions for every single male role, and just waited for it to end at that point. And wouldn't you know it, they went ahead and cast me as Squall, which I was not expecting at all. But I'm glad they did because it's been a great time. I do believe it's one of the best decisions I've ever made because I have made so many friends and I've got cast for a lot more things and made friends in other projects, and it's just been a good time. So I'm glad I did it. One last thing I want to talk about because it's important to my personal journey is this. I got myself a Griver tattoo. What does that mean? It means I'm a big fan of Final Fantasy VIII, right? Not entirely. That's not really why I got it. So what does Griver mean in the context of the story? Well, Squall had that as an emblem. He kept it as his necklace and everything, and on his ring and whatever. Griver was something that he aspired to. The lion was the symbol of courage, and he kept that at the forefront of his mind as something to aspire to, as courage to aspire to. So I got it because in 2017 we were a few episodes into the Fandub. That's the word. When my older brother Mike, I actually we ended up losing him, and I thought about him and how we both loved Final Fantasy, and how Final Fantasy was a first for a lot of things for me. It was my first Final Fantasy game. It was my first RPG ever. It was my first foray into voice acting, and that was all started because I was introduced to it by Mike. And I thought about how I used to look up to him when I was a little kid. How I aspired to be like him, much in the same way that Squall aspired to be like Griver, like have that. He looked up to him as that symbol of bravery, much in the same way I looked up to my cool big brother. So that's what led to me getting that. Well, I probably rambled a lot throughout this video, and if you stuck around, thanks. And if you stuck around through the whole fandub too, thanks for that. Thanks for being there for the whole start of my journey and up to where it is. Well, anyway, oh, I left the game on. Oh. Hey, hold on a second. What? There's more after the bridge? I had no idea. Okay. Huh. Well, in spite of everything, it looks like I still have a long journey ahead of me. Well, wish me luck.